listen, if Chicago didn't improve, why would you have the number 1 and number 9 picks? They got the consensus number 1 quarterback in Caleb Williams, arguably the top receiver in Rome Odunze at number 9. But the beauty for both is that they're joining groups and an offense that was waiting for them. Wide receivers are already there for Chicago. DJ Moore, right? They got Keenan Allen from the Los Angeles Chargers. Cole Kmet's the tight end. For Caleb Williams, they got an offensive tackle, Darnell Wright, out of Tennessee last year, and they added DeAndre Swift to the backfield. This offense was being created and waiting for these guys to join. They get to go in there now and bear down.
I love that choice, CD. Obviously, the Bears potentially could take over that division next season with the acquisitions they've made in the draft. But I'm going to go to another NFC team. The Carolina Panthers, I think, really improved their offense within this draft. Maybe a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but when you think about the Carolina Panthers, I think last season they tried to surround Bryce Young with some talent, just not enough speed and athleticism, but they go out and they draft Xavier Legette, big-time wide receiver, big-time threat down the field. It brings a lot of speed. How about Jonathan Brooks, who brings a lot of versatility to the backfield, and not to mention Jatavian Sanders, a tight end who can create some mismatches for you and be able to control the middle of the field, and by the way, be a threat in the red zone. So when you think about what they were able to do in the draft offensively and how bad they were last season, they've improved their offense tremendously through the draft.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been a great improvement for all of those teams, but I think like the Pittsburgh Steelers deserve a little love for what they were able to do, changing their offensive identity. I think it starts up front. They want to be smart, tough, fast, physical. They have all those things. And so when you think about Troy Fautana being able to go, and then Zach Frazier also fortifying that offensive line that last year added Roderick Jones to the mix. They now can be able to play those games that they want to play up front where they're imposing their will. Arthur Smith able to run the football. But it's not only that. It's adding a pass catcher like Roman Wilson. Think about George Pickens being on the outside. You now have the ability to run the football when you want to, but also pass it in a controlled passing game. That should allow Russell Wilson to play at his best and Justin Fields if he has the opportunity to get in.
Yeah. I can't not bring up the Commanders. Now, they didn't have 2 picks in the top 10, so they didn't add a wide receiver, but they got their guy. They got Jaden Daniels, and that pairing with Cliff Kingsbury is going to be enormously helpful for a team that already added Austin Eckler. By the way, you got a McCaffrey there. Things are good.
There it is.
And then Ben Sinnott, too. Don't sleep on him. That's a tight end that could be extremely valuable. You know Cliff Kingsbury likes to make those tricky little tight end plays.
Okay.
I'm calling it now.
All right.
We're probably going to be talking waiver wire pickup. Let's call it October?
Okay.
We're going with October for that. But Jaden Daniels, getting your guy, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, and Luke McCaffrey, all he's done is improve in his short time as a wide receiver. Flip to the defensive side of the ball here, CD. Which teams do you think improved the most on that side?
Well, I've been hanging out with Cynthia, and I'm just going to stay with her team in D.C. and go to the other side of the ball. Cynthia mentioned getting their guy on offense. They got a plethora of guys on defense who are going to help them. And remember, their head coach, Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, Joe Witt Jr. is the D.C. But they got Jerzon Newton, Johnny Law up front, defensive lineman. They got Mikey Sainris still, nickel cornerback. And they got a guy that I like a lot, later rounds, Jordan McGee, outside linebacker, a run chase guy from Temple that I liked better than many people did. And he's going to push to be a starter for them soon. I love what they did on that talent side. And Dan Quinn motivating Joe Witt Jr., coaching them up. They're going to turn them loose immediately because Sainris still's an immediate starter at nickel. Johnny Law is going to rotate in the defensive line behind Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. And then, of course, you've got the guy back deep. He's going to do some damage as well. And talk about McGee. He'll be right there behind Jamin Davis. Jamin Davis better be ready to go come training camp time.
While you guys are hanging out in D.C., maybe taking a visit to the NFLPA office or something like that, I'm going to head west where the sun shines bright, where the L.A. Rams play at SoFi Stadium. I love what they did in this draft defensively. First of all, Jared Verse can become an all-time player in this league. I'm talking about a constant Pro Bowler, all-pro. You remember when the Rams got Von Miller in the offseason? Now, I'm not saying he's Von Miller, but I'm saying over the course of his career, he can eventually have that type of impact. Braden Fisk, who played alongside Jared Verse, how about that continuity coming to the defense for the LA Rams. We talk about it on offense, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, how instantly they were able to be lights out together. Same thing can happen on the defense as well. You get a guy like Tyler Davis in the later round, hard to replace Aaron Donald, but you do your best by replacing him with depth, and not to mention Cameron Kinchins, who a lot of scouts had him number 1 rated overall as it pertains to the safeties in this draft. You get him on the team, that defense is going to be pretty good.
You know, Robert, I like what you talked about, the theme of continuity, being able to be connected, guys that can play together and kind of finish each other's sentences. How about we go to the Philadelphia Eagles? We were raving about their ability to take 2 of the top players at defensive back, meaning first you get Quinyon Mitchell, number 1 corner on most boards. You get a number 1 corner outside, and then Cooper DeJean, who can go outside or play a variety of positions in the back end. When you think about what Vic Fangio wants to do, having the coverage people is essential, but it's not only that. It's being able to also have those thumpers. So you have Jalix Hunt being able to play off the edge. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also being able to make contributions as an inside linebacker. I mean, we just talked about that quartet right there. A new nucleus of defensive players should help the Philadelphia Eagles make drastic improvements on that side of the ball. Yeah.
Well, I think we here rated one particular corner a little higher than Quinyon Mitchell, and that was the one that went to the Detroit Lions.
Oh, okay. There you go, Cynthia.
Okay.
Terrion Arnold. The Lions gave up the most passing touchdowns in the National Football League last year. And Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, 1, 2, Mekhi Wing. Let's just really, really address this problem. And let's address it without a lot of spendy situations in free agency, because you got to pay your O-lineman, which they did, Penei Sewell. You got to pay your Amon-Ra St. Brown pass catcher. And you're going to have to pay Jared Goff, who they chanted for, Jared Goff. So get those corners so that you fix your defense.
I like it right there. I knew we couldn't get too far
I know.
without giving a little love to the hometown crowd, which we do as well. Hat tip once again to those good fans there in Detroit.